ukikuja kwenye facts on the ground, the most successful team is TP Mazembe, followed by AS Vital, Gor Mahia, Yanga. Then Simba FC wanagongana hapa hivi na APR. Now them, they play in their own league hapo chini when it comes to success ya clubs regional. Sports mtaani, tunawasuka maneno michezo from the eye of the people. Henry back at it again with another video. Remember, in this channel we said we talk about anything goods that's happening in the motherland. Leo tunaongelelea soccer one more time. The last video we did brought some heat from Tanzania, and bado tuko pale pale. Ni ukweli tunasema, hatusingizii chochote. At the end of the day, when something good happens, we put it out there for everybody to listen and give an opinion about. We respect all your opinions. Hizo maono zenyu zote ziko sawa. Zidi kucomment pale so that we know what you believe or feel. Watch this video till the end, and every time we release a new video, subscribe so that you can be notified. So one of the subscribers in my previous video commented na akasema, hey, mnaongea sana na Tanzanian football in the region, they're the best, ama they're the most successful. So I decided to do a little research, talk to a few of my friends, call people locally within the region and internationally, and ask them a few questions about the region sports or soccer specifically, so that I can come up with a comprehensive analysis about soccer in East Africa. And this is what I came up with. So let's start by talking about, what do you think, which country in the East Africa do you think has the most successful soccer playing unit within the region? Is it Kenya? Is it Uganda? Is it Rwanda? Is it Tanzania? Is it the Democratic Republic of Congo or Burundi? Which one? Give me your opinion down there and state your reasons. What I'm about to tell you is opinion based on my perspective, my own analysis, and who I believe is the most successful. And on this, I'm going to give comparison in regard to certain specific issues that I've documented. And you might agree with it or not, but these are my opinion. So there are categories that I'm going to lay out to justify my opinion. And to this effect, I'm going to talk about the number one thing. I am going to base this on the FIFA rankings, because FIFA has a formula that it uses to identify which team is currently in what position. So that is the ranking I'm going to use, because it's a standard measure that is applicable at the moment. Again, another thing I'm going to look about is the strength of the league in East Africa. How is the Tanzanian league in comparison to the Burundian league? When you talk about the DRC Congo league, if you compare it with Ugandan league, that's another comparison I'm going to look about. Tournament successes within the region, their national teams, how far have they gone when it comes to tournaments, the clubs, which important tournament have they won or participated in. Then I'm also going to look at the expertise that are exported from this country to play internationally. Who are the most notable players in Uganda who are playing abroad, Kenya, and such kind of thing. I'm also going to look at the infrastructure in terms of sports or soccer specifically. What infrastructure do Kenya have that would appeal to the growth of sports or soccer in that specific country? What about what's happening in Burundi? So these are some of the issues I want to highlight, and let's get straight into it. Tuanze, mbio mbio teke teke. The first thing we're talking about is ranking. When you look at the FIFA rankings, FIFA has a formula that they use to identify. It's a point-based system that is used to alleviate teams based on their performance. So in this system, they look at the importance of the match, who you're playing, what kind of tournament is it? Is it a friendly match? Is it a regional tournament? Is it, which is CECAFA? Is it a continental tournament like the African Games? Is it the World Cup? So based on the importance of this game, there's particular points that you're given each time you win, draw, or lose. So that forms the basis of the point system. So when you look at your system ya FIFA, timu iko juu sana kwenye ranking sasa hivi ni the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then the second most ranked team from the region is Uganda, who are ranked in position 90. So when you look at disparity, yeah, between these two teams, DRC are 32 positions ahead of the next ranked team from East Africa in the FIFA ranking. So Uganda comes as number 2. The third ranked team is Kenya. Kenya currently from the FIFA ranking is number 102. Then Tanzania comes 4th in the East African region, ranked at 110. Then I think Rwanda is the 5th ranked team in the region at 130. Then lastly is definitely Burundi. But there's something conspicuous that you need to look at when you see this ranking. Between the DRC, the first ranked, and Uganda, there's a huge gap in between these two nations. 32 slots in between them. But between Uganda and Rwanda, the gap is so small. All of these teams, the margins between them are 20 points or something thereabout in between them. And this is not a big margin. So it means that as much as DRC are front runners, way in front, the other 5 teams who are grouped together, they're just kind of in the same kind of playing environment. So you wouldn't say that which team, when it comes to the ranking, shows a prominence of greatness in soccer when you compare with the rest. So that is what the ranking says. The second thing that would make you, ukitaka kujua timu gani noma, ni tournaments wamecheza. Which tournaments have they played? Ukiangalia East Africa, DRC wamecheza tournament gani? TZ wamecheza tournament gani? And we want to go step by step. Kutoka juu tukirudi chini. So we know the biggest tournament in the world is the World Cup. So which country in East Africa has ever gone to the World Cup? It's only the Democratic Republic of Congo. They've played in the World Cup once. So again, when it comes to this, it shows the prominence of DRC when it comes to soccer. When you go to the regional tournament, the second biggest tournament is the African Cup of Nations. The Democratic Republic of Congo has appeared 19 times in this tournament, and they've won twice. So that shows you how successful they've been. They might have won a long time ago, but the trail of success is still there to indicate the development of their game from time immemorial coming to present. The second most successful team is Uganda. Uganda's played or participated in the AFCON, which is the African Cup of Nations, 7 times. And on these 7 times, Uganda has once finished as a runner-up in the African Cup of Nations. What brings all these nations together is what we call the SACAFO. This is a regional body that manages soccer in the region. And in this tournament, Uganda has participated 81 times. They've won 39 times in this tournament. And this is where we want to narrow down to see regionally which country, when it comes to tournament, has performed better. Kenya inafuata UG because Kenya equally wameenda African Cup mara 6, hajaishinda, but at the same time wamefika group stage kwenye hizi tona. But equally most important, kwenye Sekafa, Kenya wamecheza 81 times, 80 times. Uganda ndio wamecheza 81. Kenya wamecheza 80 times na wameshinda mara 21. So remember, Uganda's won 39 times, Kenya wameshinda 21. Tanzania wameenda African Cup mara 3. 3 times. Then in these 3 times, they've never won na hajafika group stage. When it comes to Sekafa, which is the regional tournament, Tanzania has only participated 63 times. I think because at some point Tanzania associated with the southern region. I think so. Not so sure. If you know, comment hapo uniambie kwa nini Tanzania imecheza less times in Sekafa than all these other nations, Kenya and Uganda. Then in Sekafa, Tanzania has only won 8 times. And the last time they won was in 2010. Between 2010 and 2024, Tanzania has not won any major trophy or any major tournament in the region when it comes to their national team. Kenya walishinda Sekafa last 2017, then Uganda last 2019. So you can see and use that to compare in terms of what do you think, who in terms of the national team performance, who is more successful in the region ukiangalia kwenye hizo facts that I'm putting across. But also let's not forget about clubs. The region has clubs. We know kuna DRC wana club zao, wana AS Vital, wana TP Mazembe. Uganda, we know wana KCCA, we know wana Villa, we know Express. Yeah, Kenya we know Gor FC, Tusker, name them. Shabana, all those clubs. TZ, we know the famous Yanga and Simba, we know Sigida, we know Azam. So regionally, if you compare these clubs, which of these clubs has successes in continental or regional soccer tournaments? And I'm gonna narrow this. Ina narrow tu kwa sport 2 ama tona mbili tatu. Confederation na Champions League ya Africa. So those are the measures that I'm trying to put across here ili tujaribu kuanalyze nayo tujue hey kwenye wiki kuja klabu gani ni bomba kwenye in East Africa. So when you look at the records, TP Mazembe pips all these other clubs when it comes to success. And why do I say TP Mazembe pips all these other clubs? It's because TP Mazembe has won the CAF Champions League once. And they've won 2 Confederations Cup. In 2010, 2016, and 2017. So that is, ukifungua trophy cabinet yao, wanakutolea trophy 3 za Confederation ya Africa. That's TP Mazembe. AS Vital, wakifungua cabinet. Yes. Wakifungua boop, wanakutolea 1. Champions League 2014 ya Africa wanakutolea. Then they were runners up in 2018 when it comes to the Confederation Cup. So based on that performance, you still see DRC has weight when it comes to performance for the clubs. They have 2 teams who've won the Champions League. And 1 team that has won twice, and the other team that has finished runner-up in 2018. Remember in 2016 and 2017, TP Mazembe also won that same tournament. So which is the next successful team regionally when you look at the same kind of focus? Definitely it's Gor Mahia from Kenya. Gor is the only other team regionally that has won a continental tournament. And remember in 87, Gor won the Confederation Cup. But then it was called the Mandela Cup. So Gor has won it, and Gor has also been a runner-up in the Confederation Cup previously. So when you open the cabinet for Gor Mahia trophies, there's supposed to be 2 trophies. 1 for finishing first in the tournament, and another one for runners-up position. The 3rd team that comes in that pecking order is Young Africans from Tanzania. And young Africans, they've not won any major silverware regionally. Never. But remember, in 2018, they finished runners-up in the Confederation Cup. So by virtue of finishing second, they automatically becomes the fourth most successful club regionally. Simba, other than the local trophies, ya ligi na maybe Sekafa club champions, hawana silverware kutoka Afrika wanaweza onyesha ati this one tumeshinda. Maybe invitational tournaments wameenda wakacheza, maybe South Africa wameenda, so maybe hizo which I'm not aware of. So to me, ukikuja kwenye facts on the ground, the most successful team is TP Mazembe, followed by AS Vital, Gor Mahia, Yanga. Then Simba FC wanagongana hapa hivi na APR. Now them, they play in their own league hapo chini when it comes to success ya clubs regional. Tuendelee mbele, we talk about ukiangalia based on league strength, ligi gani ina nguvu kushinda ligi zingine East Africa? Which one is the most dominant? And in light of this, it's good to talk about this when you compare skill ya wachezaji playing in those local leagues, competitiveness, how strong is the leagues, na timu ziko kwenye ligi zina nguvu zinatoshana, ama there are teams that are very superior and teams that are very weak. Then also viewership, mpira inaonwa na watu wangapi, is it something watched globally ama local scene? Then also we're supposed to talk about attendance, mechi zinajaa in what extent. On this, I'd say kwangu mimi regionally, I believe kuna mvuto towards a successful Tanzanian Premier League at the moment in comparison to Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, and Burundi. But I'd also say the league in the Democratic Republic of Congo also in mvuto, because the competitiveness that is there from Lupopo and all the teams looks to be in comparison, and the money that is pumped to lift or market these two leagues are on the greater sense. But other than that, it is relatively the same in comparison, because at the end of the day, all these leagues have certain factors in common. Number one, hizi ligi zote zina timu mbili ama tatu that dominates, and they have almost 3/4 of the following kwenye ligi. Then hizi timu zingine zote kwenye jedwali, they hardly even can fill half of the field kama kuna mechi. Na it's the same in Tanzania. Yanga wakicheza na Simba, stadi inafurika furi. Gor wakicheza na AFC Leopards pale Nyayo, stadium inajaa kibao. APR wakicheza kule Kigali, dabi yao inashona kabisa. FC Lupopo wakicheza na TP Mazembe, wow, hawezi pumua. Express wakicheza Uganda na Villa, same thing. So that is a common factor across hizi ligi zote. But when they play different team, let's say wameenda mkoani to play Singida, or Gor wameenda kucheza na Nzoia, or that example, Express maybe wameenda kucheza na another team down there in UG, there is hardly any fans wanakuja kuona soka. That strong team that is in the league ndio wana traveling fan base or local fan base in those regions. And it's the same in Kenya, it's the same in Uganda, TZ, Rwanda, and DRC. When you talk about viewership, which league inaangaliwa sana. Same thing, ligi ya Rwanda hakuna Mkenya anaangalia. Ligi ya Tanzania hakuna Uganda anaangalia. Ligi ya Uganda hakuna Mkongo anaangalia. So viewership is local in all these leagues, and it's the same. Ligi ya Kenya hakuna msewa Burundi ataangalia. So based on those facts, when it comes to viewership, regardless whether your games are shown on SuperSport, Azam, whatever league, you get money revenue in terms of the marketing and the sponsorship they give. But in terms of viewership, it's relatively local to your region. So hapo hakuna weight yoyote unaweza sema ati this country has a bigger viewership, because you export viewership. If your soccer is great and it's watched in another region, you can say yes, you see even those people. When it comes to professional or skill in the leagues, the same players who are playing in Uganda are the same players playing in the Kenyan league. Because remember, like I said, these teams are grouped. When it comes to the FIFA rankings, they are almost in the same group. And these are the same players who play for the national team. So you find the ripple effect is that that skill that is regionally available is the same one that zinaonyesha kwenye rankings za FIFA. So in terms of skill mi naona tu zote, hizi region zote, their skill is almost the same. But Tanzania should be careful, because the more imports you have for international players in your league might not grow your soccer to an extent that you have transition of players from the lower levels coming up to play for the national teams and clubs, because they're taking up. So that's just a caution. Ikikuja kwenye in terms of youth development, I still believe on youth development, Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda, they have a rooted youth development system. But for Rwanda and Uganda, I think they have a superior youth development program compared to Kenya and Tanzania. I hardly know much about what Congo does and what Burundi does. But when you look at it on a global perspective, I'd say Rwanda, Uganda tops when it comes to youth development, then probably Kenya, then Tanzania. Maybe Congo. I'm not talking about Congo because I really don't understand about the youth system, how it works. Professionals playing abroad, exported skill, wale wanarudisha pesa huku hivi. The biggest export ya talent is DRC Congo. Worldwide, global. When you go to France, they are flooded players, francophone, wako huko. Wengi sana. Europe, kabisa. Ukienda Spain, huko Belgium, you get a lot of Congolese players. Then the second pool of players abroad ni wa Kenya. You might not know them, but they're there. Wako wengi sana, wanacheza. When you go to Sweden, Norway, easy European silent leagues, so many Kenyans play there. Ukienda Asia, Qatar, Oman, there's so many Kenyan players wako huko nje. I believe Uganda comes third ikikuja kwenye export ya talent. Then Tanzania wako huko nyuma, because Bwana Samata ndio mimi nimemsikia, and probably one or two, but it doesn't mean that Tanzania has no professionals abroad. Let me know wako wangapi kule nje. Let me know wako wangapi. Mwisho, at the end of the day, we just highlight the best in sports in East Africa. Mtu alicomment akasema, hey, Tanzania ndio mabingwa wa East Africa. Tell me, is it true that Tanzania ndio mabingwa wa East Africa when it comes to soccer? But to me, those are the facts. Sitasema ni nani, but from what you've heard, definitely you see like DRC is still a powerhouse when it comes to the regional soccer kwenye ukanda wa ziwa. This is Henry and I'm out. See you in the next one. Bye.